What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Brunch Gimmick. I am Lawrence Kurtze, and I am joined this week by the ever handsome Zach Ralph. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. A little underslept. We were playing games last night, so I know you can empathize being part of the Blowing Off stream. Stream. But yeah, here to talk some wrestling.
Yeah, fun week. What's up, Ophelia? Yeah, I decided to go dance pop this week. I was in a dance pop.
You went rogue.
Didn't feel like feeding them ducks. The heck with them ducks.
Fuck them ducks.
Yeah. I was avoiding saying it for 5 minutes. I was literally gonna say it at the 10-minute mark. Who's NFSW now? Huh, Zach?
I apologize. If the algorithm can hear me, I apologize, and it won't happen again.
I try to have a good Christian stream every week. And Zacharias Ralph over here keeps ruining it with his vulgar language, obscenities.
I keep ruining it. Oh. Whew. Sorry,
well, that's the show for this week.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
We'll see you next week. Ophelia rightfully calling me out. I know I was supposed to be responsible. Oh, excuse me. I'm also a little flustered again. Like I was just like running to get home in time for this stream and whatnot. Just a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah. So how was your week this week?
Good. It's been busy. We've been, it was show week, of course, for LPW 25. And not that I'm like as busy as anyone else who's involved in that show, but like there were so many graphics that needed to be done. Of course, we announced 2 big matches at the end of the card, being, of course, Royce Isaacs defending the LPW Grand Championship against Lumberjack Larry Woods. And, of course, you're showing off the shirt. Effie and Alley Catch. And the hat, too. You're wearing the full get-up. Yeah, tag team championship on the line. Effie and Alley Catch versus Ride or Die. You see how I refrained from saying Effie and Catch Alley's tag team name during this first 10 minutes? Why couldn't I brought that energy to my opening cuss?
Yeah. But yeah, that huge tag team match and a very great man. We can talk about that a little bit. This past weekend or this Friday, we had LPW. And the debut of Alley Catch, which was huge. And not only that, next month she's bringing Effie in what is very much a dream match for us. That to have them come over and fight what also does look like another one of their variants in Team Ride or Die.
There is a bit of a multiverse thing happening with their vibes.
And for the tag team chat, that's a huge announcement. We're very excited about that. And our new champion, Larry Woods, who I'm still very much that he stole it from TY and that no Larrys can be trusted. You cannot trust one Larry. They're the quitters of the Lawrence community. Uh, if you see a Larry, just be hesitant because they will do something shady. I'm telling you
So
that right now.
this is less about TY and it's more about Lawrence solidarity.
It is. It started that way, but he proved me right. Am I wrong? Did he not sign the contract when everyone was expecting Ty? I'm just out here speaking facts on Larry's. Even Larry David. You can't trust Larry David.
What?
I'm telling you that right now. Oh yeah, pretty good. No, you're saying pretty too much.
I don't know if I have the reference for this, so we'll have to talk about that afterwards. Otherwise, yeah, of course, we're also, last night we had a lot of fun on blowing off stream. Thank you for sneezing on me, Ticket. That's just wonderful, my cat. I prefer the days where you used to knock over my camera. But yeah, big week in wrestling as new champions abound. Not only Lumberjack Larry, we've got a new AEW champion in Swerve Strickland, who has already proven himself to be a fighting champion in All Elite Wrestling. What'd you think that last weekend there, Lawrence?
Oh, I honestly, I love Dynasty. Uh, like, I think everyone, it was pretty much assumed that Swerve were going to win, and it was still a great moment for him when he beat Samojo. Like, Samojo also a great champion in his own right. Like, he definitely got it at an awkward point in the company when a lot was in flux. Like, you've lost a lot. They've come off, like, they're coming off a big controversy at the time, and they're losing not only their champion at the time and MJF to injury, they're losing Kenny Omega to illness. Like, it was a lot happening at the same time, and he had to carry the company through a rough time, and he did a great job. And I think Swerve has like a lot to prove as champion, but like it's going to be an exciting time for him, and it's well deserved. And like that Offspray Danielson match was absolutely insane. Like it lived up to the billing, everything and more. Like they're definitely two of the best in the world, and it shows what AEW does best, which is very much the in ring aspect of it. Like it's gonna be bangers up and down the card. Like they do legitimately have a very stacked roster.
That's one thing I don't think anyone can criticize AEW. In fact, I would say their roster is too deep. We've all lamented how some people just kind of get rotated off TV, and it's understandable because it's a bit of a roster problem. How do you forecast, showcase everyone without losing valuable TV time? People just get kind of like cycled in and out of these angles. But again, you can't criticize the actual depth of the roster. You can just kind of criticize how it's being presented.
Yeah.
But back to that Swerve Strickland match. I had a topic I wanted to bring to the table today. And you know what? Swerve is kind of like the thing that got this topic brewing in my head. But at the same time, I learned later that he's not. His reason was a bit of an exception. But we'll get to that in a bit. Cosplay superhero entrances. Lawrence, I'm very tired of it. I'm very tired. Why don't wrestlers understand that they are cooler than superheroes? You are cooler than superheroes. You do not need to dress as a superhero for a big match. Wear cool gear. It doesn't have to be Iron Man or Wolverine or anything like that. Come on. Give me some cool wrestling gear. Show me who you are, not what your favorite comic book is. I'm tired of it, Lawrence.
Look, I don't hate it. I'm like a bit because it is like for years, especially like as people who are both like comic nerds, and yeah, it is actually superhero day today.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You timed
this is the day I bring it up.
But like personally, like I do enjoy. I think it is a bit overdone at times. Like every one of Johnny Gargano's gear is
Johnny
like,
Gargano will pay for his crimes.
yeah, is a like Marvel reference, but like a, I think it helps in the end. Like it does for people who are like a watching first time who are comic book fans and stuff. Like it does help bring in that synergy, and like I like the for like the in recent years you got to see how nerdy some of the professional wrestlers are in the back. Some of them are like some do just because it's popular. Like I'm sure there's a couple that don't, but like some are like most the vast majority are like legitimate hardcore fans of comic books and do want to represent it in their gear. And like I enjoy seeing, but yeah, I get it's overdone, and there are also more subtle ways to do it than just outright dressing up as the like a full on like cosplay thing, like reenactment.
Yeah, and I will add that like I was taken out of it during Swerve's entrance, but I learned afterwards he had a good reason for dressing as Black Panther, and that's because his friend, who was a stuntman on the Black Panther set and everything, wore the costume and everything. He was in the front row, so he was kind of shouting out his friend there, which is pretty cool.
And
But all the same, it just at the time, and again, this is just now I'm just using Swerve as an example since he was the most recent, but like the way it took me out of it, I didn't even notice later when they put the robe on him that was Jimmy Rave's robe. I like
yeah,
it glossed over my head because I was so distracted by this bit of a pet peeve of mine. I like this. I like Mars's idea here,
yeah,
coming out as Ant-Man. Well, you know what,
yeah.
Mars, when I tweeted my disdain for superhero comic book entrances, Pride tweeted that, like, what about supervillains? And when it comes to Halloween, I think all bets are off. Like, I will refrain from criticizing anyone who comes out on Halloween in a costume. So Mars, do as you please, but I'm letting you know where my own personal good side begins and ends in regards to cosplay entrances.
And you know that you're getting a Deadpool and Wolverine come this summer. Like
Oh
somebody at
yeah,
SummerSlam is definitely rocking a Deadpool. Or like there's going to be several X-Men 97 uh thing. By the
any day
way,
now.
that show rules so goddamn hard. If you haven't watched X-Men 97, do yourself a favor, go watch it after the stream. Like we're heading into the three-part finale. It is so good. It's such a beautifully written show.
Please, no spoilers in the
Yeah.
chat or otherwise. I'm just concluding the original series. I'm in the last couple episodes of like the original series. It's like the last one I just watched was Wolverine in World War II fighting with alongside Captain America, and that was awesome. Um, Mars saying he cosplays as Reed every show. Um, but yes, I have 97 on my watch list, and yeah, very soon, very soon.
Yeah, and Reed Matthews made his appearance in I think it was comic book Avengers 301. The first appearance of Reed Matthews, which does sound like a name you would see in Marvel. Like Reed Matthews sounds like a somebody the Fantastic Four hung out with at one point in the 60s.
Marvel is all about alliterative
Yeah, that's
names.
true.
Like you're gonna have a Reed Richards,
Richards, yeah.
Peter Parker, Bruce Banner,
Yeah.
Fin Fang Foom, J. Jonah Jameson. Oh, there's more. There's more.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stanley and Ditko, they loved alliteration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, I do like superheroes. I do like
Yeah.
superheroes. I'm not. I like them. I just want wrestlers to know they're so much cooler than what's on a comic book page, and show me some cool gear.
Do you have like one like cosplay gear that you liked?
I did like it when Johnny Gargano started it, and I really liked his Wolverine gear. And a few months ago, even though again, like I still had the same kind of criticisms because I was kind of done with it. Bane has always been a favorite of mine, and Athena coming out as Bane was cool. But after I got over like, oh, that's cool, I'm like, oh wait, I'm also really tired of superhero cosplay entrances. What about you?
I think like one of the more recent ones was Jade Carhill's Storm. That just like Chef's Kiss perfect. Like, just looks so goddamn cool. Like,
Yeah.
and especially with like within like the coming few years with the X-Men taking over, and like that side taking over for the Avengers in the movies. Like, it was perfectly timely, and like it just she like just looked embodied that character so perfectly. Like, I would like to see Jade Cargill in a Marvel movie as like another dimensions, another multiverses Storm as a cameo. Like, if
You know what? I have one other exception to my grievances
sure.
with cosplaying and wrestling, and that is fantasy superhero cosplay wrestling. Do you know about them?
No.
They are they're a wrestling promotion that works exclusively in Comic Con. And
Oh, I
again,
think
like yeah, like
yeah, I think I heard of it.
Big Swole will do it, and she'll wrestle as Storm. And there's also a guy named Alex Chamberlain, who Bob Animal Anger told me about. He's got a crazy good Lyrian. It looks like $1 million, and he's like one of their biggest heels as Skeletor. So again, if you want to check out
Oh yeah,
fantasy superhero cosplay wrestling, a lot of their matches are on YouTube. I show them to my kids. They're a lot of fun. That is the other exception to my
yeah.
cosplay
I
entrance line.
I think I did see it. I think they both Veda and Speedball did it once or a few times.
I know
Like,
Veda did.
yeah, Veda did.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen Speedball.
I think he did it like once with them on like I think on one of their vlogs they did it. They like yeah, no, they like that especially like I think the crossover is very much there. Like, I feel like that's one of the things I was actually talked to Speedball about, and he brought up that he's brought it up with like he's discussed this with Bob Anger with Andy Belanger that how like Montreal Comic Con should be running shows there, and the fact that like they're not as such a wasted opportunity. Like, they could be doing those shows, those like cosplay shows. Like, they can get the IWS some of the IWS roster that weekend to do afternoon show at the like the there would be a lot of people there who would greatly enjoy that, and it would potentially get more eyes on the IWS. Like, it'd be a great idea, and there are a lot of fun. Like, those full
I
on
will say
cosplay shows
IWS
are a
is
lot of fun. Go ahead.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I will say IWS does a very good job of like doing like these satellite events. One of the first, not the first one I saw, but one of the first ones I saw was at a taco festival. Main event was Speedball versus Argenis versus Psychosis,
Oh
and like
Jesus.
I'm here for tacos and I'm watching wrestling.
Yeah.
How great is this?
Yeah. That's exactly it. Like, you can for the price of admission, or like
Oh man.
you get such a fun show, and it's like a missed opportunity that Montreal Comic Con doesn't do that. But this week, also big draft week,
Oh man.
where we did have the what everyone was hoping for, the Tony Khan drafting in,
Oh,
in like a legitimate NFL draft, while in the war room with Jacksonville. In a neck brace, selling his injury, doing interviews, continually selling his injury that he got the day before. And apparently the cameras were still falling around yesterday while he was working both on AEW and still doing work on the draft. Cameras were still falling around, still selling that injury. Like, that was,
I
it
was
was
rolling
like
my
one of
eyes when you said draft because I thought we were about to.
to talk about the
Sorry.
WWE draft. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that's where we were going, and I was rolling my eyes.
Yeah.
Football, I have no frame of reference, really, so I'm not going to roll my eyes at that.
No, it was like, credit to him there. That was like one of the few moments the entire wrestling world sort of got together of like, all right, this is fun. This is exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah,
Like, Tony Khan saw the opportunity and absolutely jumped on it. And it was to see like even his dad just like sitting behind him, like, yep, this is my weird nerd son who's inheriting this team when I die. Like, selling wrestling injuries. Like, to like him doing interviews and stuff. Like it was fun to see. Didn't love the comedy made like about WWE 'cause it's just there to be glib and to make a like cheap joke off what's like a very serious situation, like two very serious situations that are still
Yeah.
unraveling. Like it was more to like to get over like a joke with the dudes than it was to like bring light on what's happening in WWE, which like people should be more like talking about more and still talking about like it's still ongoing.
Mhm.
But like to do it in a glib
Yeah.
joke wasn't the best, especially when like we were just like all like united in like this is fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a bit two minds about it. Like, yes, it
yeah,
was glib, and you can easily criticize it for that. Um, Ultimately, I think I'm like more or less in favor. Like, I don't want to dissect this too much.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm more comfortable with a little extra light being shined on the situation with a mainstream platform, and if it had to be a glib remark, well, I guess that's something. Um, what I'm less comfortable with is like going on Twitter after it and like people treating it like a dunk at a pep rally as
Yeah.
like, come on, guys, like, yeah, he said that. Let's not like make that our banner to wave. You know, it made light of the experience of victims, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's what I was much less comfortable with.
Y-
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's really all I can weigh in regards to an NFL draft.
Uh, by the way, very sweet moment of the Eagles drafting the son of one of their former players to the
You were
team.
mentioning this.
Oh yes, and like when one of the Eagles fan pages did an amazing like joke of it, the of a very true fact, which I mentioned last night, was Jeremiah Trotter was drafted in 1998, had a full NFL career with the Philadelphia Eagles, had a son, raised his son. His son gets drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles all before the Dallas Cowboys not even make the Super Bowl, just make the semifinals, the NFC Championship. All this time, like in that time period. Like brilliant troll job. But yes, it was also a very nice moment if you check online of like the owner, Jeffrey Lurie of the Eagles, getting choked up talking about how like talking to him and like telling him that they're drafting him and like getting choked up talking about the his mom because his mom had recently passed away the year before and how like he had like a lot of love for their family. It was a very sweet moment. But yes, that was it for the NFL draft. But the WWE draft, which you it was straight up just to capitalize on the NFL draft. Like they did it. It like you. What also took it away is you just had people signed to different shows, and you pretty much entirely kept them on those shows.
Yeah.
Like,
The uh,
go ahead.
the WWE draft, it's the most paper thin gimmick in professional
Yeah,
wrestling, in mainstream professional wrestling. Like, it never matters. Like, again, 6 weeks from now, someone is going to be on the wrong show, and they're going to be like, it's going to be a non-event. We do this draft, we do all this pomp and circumstances, and yes, to your point, Lawrence, it's to
yeah,
capitalize on the fact that there's an NFL draft happening at the same time. And I get that. That's fine. I just want them to sell the fact that there is a brand split. I want to believe that there is a brand split. I want to believe that Jey Uso is on Raw and he's not going to show up on SmackDown, or Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion. He's not going to make an appearance on Raw. Give me some concrete framework to make this main roster brand split work. And again, this is a conversation we have every year, and every year people are like, "Oh, maybe it'll be different this year." No, it will
yeah,
not be different this year. Nothing will change. Nothing has changed in the past 18 years in regards to the WWE draft. We know how this goes. If people are going to be on the wrong show, and we're going to pretend that's just
yeah.
a brand split. No. Tired.
Like legitimately, it would
We're
also
gonna be
like would
having this conversation next year.
yeah. I what didn't help, which is like they did this here, which like I mentioned briefly a second ago, is that you literally had like people like Carl Hayes coming and signing contracts with Raw and Smack. Like it sort of took away from their moment of getting called up already, because you already had them flirting with both brands. Like usually that moment in like past ones where they like the NXT talent especially gets called up, it's usually a big moment for them, and some of them get like legitimately and rightfully choked up because like this is their moment. They're finally getting to get like onto the big shows, on the big weekly shows, and that like it sort of like took away from that a little bit. I think it was cool putting him in a match with Cody Rhodes right away was like, and making him like the number one draft pick was cool and smart. Like he's definitely like one of the highest prospects on there. So like they trade that like a real thing. Like he's very much like a young prospect you'd want under the show, just like the actual
100%.
NFL draft. And but yeah, other than that, like it was very very like non is like they kept everything pretty much the same that it was the week before. Like there were no real big surprises on the show of people going like, and they already knew it because like they weren't going to be switching champions, which was weird because like they had in the weeks previous with their like how they changed all the titles, they made it easier for them to like switch the champions to switch brand because like they're less brand colored titles now. They're like it's not the SmackDown title, it's like the WWE title or the
Yeah.
World Heavyweight title and the like WWE Tag Team Champion. So you can be WWE Tag Team Champion on Raw. It's like it it was weird they locked all the champions there before the show because like I felt everything they were doing previously was to set up them being able to draft the champions to different sides. Like they no longer have to do that awkward thing where they have to have the women's champions hand over the titles to each other,
Yeah.
which like everyone like did not like.
Did not like, and
Yeah,
rightfully so.
yeah,
That's been a weird point in championship lineage. I remember it happening with the New Day and the Street Profits as well. That was like, really, this is the best we can do. Kyle, good to see you, friend.
yeah.
I mean,
Honk
Vince leaving
honk.
is a pretty big change, and Triple H just seemed to have. Sorry, my cat bit me. A bit better continuity. Sure, I'll certainly concede that, but in regards to the draft, I still have no confidence that we're going to hold on to that. So we'll see where we are a year from now, but maybe I'm wrong, but looking at the year's history, I'm gonna I'm gonna go with what I suspect.
Yeah, like I think the draft too,
Hey,
from a
bad
creativity
cat.
standpoint, yeah, from like a creativity standpoint, and from like a, especially at this point, your WWE's in an awkward middle stage, like almost a holding pattern with their TV deals, where like people they want the stars in a certain place, so it's hard for them to move them to make a major change to one show, and he's sort of like your hands are tied to a certain extent, where like it also like ties up your hands creatively. Whereas if you things could get stagnant quickly on one show with like a certain amount of main event stars. So like I get why they don't do the brand split, but like if you're gonna do it properly, or just don't do it at all at this point. Like yeah, you don't have to do a draft every year when we know that they're not gonna stay on that show.
Yeah, I agree. I think they could make a big deal about people getting called up and things like that. I think that should still remain in place, but yeah, the draft, or maybe even like make a big deal about who's Raw going to draft from NXT, who's SmackDown going to draft from NXT. Have a little bit of the best of both worlds and find out who's going to be on main roster television. But three division draft is just not working for WWE.
Yeah, like it's not even like a three division because like they very much still that NXT is back to being developmental, so they're just the ones where they get picked from. Which like I get you like you do want to cycle that talent more. Like it's gonna give a like it's always a like NXT suffers the most, but it also gives a chance for younger talent there that hasn't that's on like the other NXT show to finally move up to the main NXT show and show what people like Sal Ruka and different people that have been like killing it and getting they're gonna get a bigger spotlight now that they're like there's less people, especially the main people who've been there for like the last few years. It gives them a
Mhm.
better chance to shine uh, on the major NXT show. Like you've got now Trick, who's now going to be running the show, and like he's not going to have like that same storylines. We're gonna see new stuff from Trick going forward in the next few months, which I'm excited about, and I'm very excited to see him in Toronto. It's gonna be like the first NXT show I've been to. I go to, and I'm very excited about that. Like, I really want to see Trick Williams in that amazing Sway Archer gear. By the way, shout out Sway Archer, who makes the gear of champions.
Yes. Well, I'm actually glad you brought up Toronto. That's a good segue to what we want to do with you, everyone who's watching here on the Brunch Gimmick, everyone who tunes into anything we do here on Love Wrestling, because your Love Wrestling team is going to be in Toronto for Money in the Bank weekend. Lawrence, myself, Spencer, JPJ, Mike from Indeed, we are hoping to go on a little pub crawl with you. So if you are in town, hop on the bus with the Love Wrestling crew. The crawl is going to wrap outside of the Scotiabank Arena just in time for Money in the Bank. And we got a heck of a drinking buddy who's going to be joining us as well. I'm hoping the animation switches over. I timed this very poorly. Where's the drama? Here we go. Co-host Jody Threat is going to be joining us on the Money in the Drink pub crawl. So if you want to get in on the bus, tickets are available at tixar.com/love wrestling. You can get tickets. They are limited. We're selling about 50 tickets. So again, Toronto, you want to grab a beer? We want to grab a beer with you. So far, we can tell you that we're going to conclude at the Rec Room, which is about a 10 minutes away from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view itself. But of course, we have bus access from spot to spot. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Very excited to have Jody Threat joining us. It's going to be, and like I think that's going to be the most of the Love Wrestling contributors in one spot ever. Like
certainly most of the present, definitely, and like that's certainly worth. And like again, the people who have been with us for a good long while, like these are, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. JPJ,
Jody's gonna drink us all under the table, though.
Yeah. I am, of course, a good Christian. I will not be drinking or any of this debauchery for at least the first 10 minutes of the stream of the bus ride. I abide by YouTube rules wherever I go. That's how good of an employee I am.
Yeah, but only for the first 10 minutes. That's all you have to do. You show up at any bar for the first 10 minutes, you keep it clean, and then the cusses start flying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
We also have a match today. Speaking of LPW.
Yeah. Let me I'll start screen sharing. I've got the video downloaded, so we don't have to deal with ads and stuff. If the video starts looking like a little poor, just let me know and we'll move over to YouTube.
Yeah, I've got it here. Also,
awesome. Oh, here we go.
The following contest is scheduled for.
He said that already.
It's also just a bit longer, so I'm just going to fast forward a tiny bit. Got to get Jack's entrance because, well, he's setting the tone.
7, the head of the snake, if you will, Jack Pride.
Because it's not Pride.
To go one-on-one with the intangible.
It's the Jack personality.
I think Jack is here. Jack is in the house, and I'll tell you, the mood definitely different. Well, I don't know how I feel about this, Boris. Dare I?
Of course, from our satellite events, LPWxCWS, which happened on the Thursday before all main LPW shows. Also in the Rec Room. You got a season pass, you got access to this. If you get a premium ticket for an LPW event, you have access to this. And if not, well, it's only $10. It's probably the best $10 that you get, that money can buy in the pro wrestling scene. Do you want Jack Chance?
Say hi, Jack.
Well, hi everybody, that's Leslie's Jack tonight. Pride said he doesn't have the time for this show, so it's us.
All right, there you go. There you hear it from the horse's mouth.
Pride's too good for Thursdays. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It all starts to come together.
Yeah.
It tell me when I'm telling lies.
7 involved in tag team action tomorrow night, if memory serves me correctly. I've been known to be wrong. If you watch the LPW preview show, I was wrong on just about everything, but that's okay.
Anyone who follows Pride on Twitter or on social media, he also took a step back. Pride took a step back, allowing Jack to work the tag team match this past Friday alongside Mars the Specialist against Para Lira. Fortunately, things did not go as maybe Mars and Jack would have hoped.
I gotta say, that smile on Jack's face looks oddly out of place. We haven't seen a lot of that over the past number of months.
Yeah, you'll have that
It's loud,
big
isn't it?
face until Zoe slaps
Yeah, a
it
little.
off him.
There seems to be very big cracks starting to form in the 7.
Very much so.
Zoe looks a little bit out of sorts, and I don't blame her.
And again, shout out to our Quizplex champion from our 7 episode, TJ Cannon, who did not even participate in the game, ended up picking up the victory thanks to generous donations and super chats from Ophelia and from Rye Sullivan over at the Mark Porter podcast.
How is Jack gonna fare against Zoe Sager, boys?
Jack able to shove Sager off the ropes. Big shoulder tackle from your challenge champion. And never
Well, that was
shying away
rude.
from showing disrespect to her opponent.
Let's move this overlay.
You ever seen anybody win a wrestling match with respect?
Actually, I have many times. Thank you very much. Another
If there's only an entire promotion based on respect and honor.
Something handshake.
Yeah.
bit more of a serious face, charging those ropes again. Perhaps third time's the charm for Jack Pride.
Pretty proud of himself.
A much better outcome if you're dressed in purple tonight, as Jack Pride is. That would have just pissed Zoe off. Through the legs goes Pride. Up and over, and a big forearm elbow strike.
Oh,
Leaping neck breaker.
very nice. Got her by the hair. Oh, Zoe's escaping.
Back in there still, perhaps.
Well, he's
Oh,
been known to show
up and over.
Jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Over the top, took out Zoë Sager hard.
Wow, just right laid out on the floor.
Pride's got a very low key aerial game. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a good grappler, but like he'll surprise you with these flying moves. I still think of that dive he hit Jody with in a scramble match several months back.
There's no timeouts in wrestling. There's no crying in baseball. There's no timeouts in wrestling.
Zoe Sager wants one though.
Man, July is going to be a very busy month for starting in Toronto, and then you got TNA in Montreal.
Yes.
Very excited about.
Yeah, we should start putting our feelers out for that one.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh,
And now Sager looking.
pay-per-view out of Verdun.
Yeah.
Speedball Mike Bailey.
I'm sorry. It's still the funniest thing in my mind.
Like, are you kidding me? Wow.
And we're going to hang that championship of salvation high above the ring. Stephen Crow defending against Mars, the Specialist, in our main event. Sager showing ultimate disrespect, standing on her opponent.
Flip him over and pin him.
Zoe with a show of dominance over Jack.
Surfing before.
I mean, is there anything Zoe can't do?
Using Jack as a human surfboard.
Stomping away.
Recover again.
Love or hate her, Zoe's pretty much the ace of LPW.
Oh, yeah.
Trick if we played her for the Oilers.
Absolutely.
Maybe a shutout.
Thank you everyone who's tuning in, whether it's on Twitter or on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, be sure to hit follow while you're here. Subscribe. Subscribe is the right vernacular for this platform. Please drop a follow. Subscribe. Also hit like while you're here. That helps us with the algorithm.
Whoa. Your cousin's got his hands where they shouldn't be.
You can catch the Brunch Gimmick every Sunday here on Love Wrestling. Always enjoying some good quality pro wrestling from LPW and hopefully an expanding roster of wrestling promotions in the very near future. Had I known about Superhero Day, I would have reached out to superhero cosplay wrestling, fantasy superhero cosplay wrestling.
And again, referee.
I got to keep an eye on my social media holidays.
And next week, I think next week is Free Comic Book Day, right? I think
Yep,
so.
May the 4th.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very busy Saturday, May the 4th, Comic Book Day. Of course, got Backlash happening. Laurence, I defer to you. Is there something you want to announce for that, or do you want to
Yeah.
like wait till tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I'll be doing a watch along. Maybe some Love Wrestling friends are going to join me throughout. Yeah, at 1 p.m. at the pay-per-view in France. I guess I will do some of it in French. I don't know.
Everyone has to wear a beret.
Oh, I'm the French stereotype.
Oh, backlash.
Je suis juste 7 ans et je fume comme une cheminée.
It actually just occurred to me why Baron Corbin was drafted back to SmackDown. He's got to have a match in France.
Yeah. Oh, that's
He is ridiculously over in France for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Big drop kick by Pride.
Still struggling to breathe, but he's bought himself some time.
Because like the French, he has been through the shit.
Looking to mount some offense.
Big clothesline.
Series of clotheslines, big leaping strike.
Superman punch from Jack. Super Jack punch?
And of course, I'm not going to speak to all the details. I can't because I'm not as well versed in clandestine wrestling society as others. But if you go back just a couple frames there, if you want to get training, you can do so. $200 for both days. So if you want to try to be a pro, your hand at pro wrestling training, get an introduction with Michael Richard Blaze in the clandestine wrestling school.
Series of clotheslines, big leaping strike.
Superman punch. Jack Pride is honoring Superhero Day for us.
Yeah.
Lavender Haze from Jack.
Lavender Haze. That's a cool name for the move.
We've seen him use that particular move to a great deal of success during his Scramble Championship run, a very impressive Scramble Championship run.
Oh, hell yeah.
Charging in.
Oh,
Zoe able to sidestep.
going for some sort of the psycho knee.
1-1 in 12 contests.
Through the legs again, but got caught by the follicles.
Are you going to IWS next weekend?
I will find that out by tomorrow.
Okay.
You?
I think so. I think I'm going to buy a ticket and go.
If I do go, we can finally exchange our IWS jerseys.
Yeah.
Back to their feet.
Laurence and I have both have the incorrect size for ourselves, but the correct size for one another. Nice step over STO by Zoë Sager.
Oh. Affiliated with the information, Lavender Haze is a Taylor Swift song.
Pride hasn't been the same since. And now I say Pride, and now I'm screwed up. Jack has not been the same.
And you have to wonder when Zoe looks at
Again, polarizing
Philly.
crowd.
seeing Speedball Mike Bailey.
Well, you know she's going to want to finish this one off.
No, I think this one is before
This might be it.
24.
Able to get up at 2.
That might have been 3.
And some frustration, more than frustration, showing.
Or 23.
I don't know. Zoe seems
Unfortunately, I don't get to enjoy the LPWxCWS shows live, so I don't. I just don't always have the context.
Boris, we've seen this from Zoe. When she snaps like this, it becomes
Love this move. Can do it to Jack. He escapes.
Pick her opponents up on her shoulders before. Pride had that scouted, wanted no part of it. Up on that middle rope. Ooh, caught a big right hand.
Not another. Oh, in return.
Pride trying to fight his way out of this.
Oh,
Sager hit the canvas hard.
Jack with a headbutt.
that top turnbuckle.
Oh boy.
To the top rope.
Went for the
Let's-
double stomp. No water.
Oh,
but he caught
there it
that
is.
He sure
one.
did.
Hook in the leg.
2. Oh,
Sager out at 2.
A 2 count on the Claymore.
Jack a little shocked he wasn't able to get the
Peripherally related news, but of course, Drew McIntyre is officially re-signed with the WWE.
on that list.
yeah. And The Rock presented him with a sword, or had a sword
Yeah,
given to him.
determination.
Dwayne.
Shoulders that will have
Oh.
hair into the Dragon Sleeper. Jack lock-
Beautiful transition into that Dragon Sleeper.
Using the hair
And
to
the dude
escape.
who was presenting to him had to stand there for so long because Drew had to open the card. And he was having trouble with the envelope. And the dude just standing there with a giant sword for a solid minute and a half.
Oh, Z Factor.
Z Factor. And after the Z Factor usually comes
3. There it is.
3.
And still.
I'm not sure if this was a championship match. But still, and still,
Yeah.
it's still accurate. Zoe also scoring a big victory over Rich King this past LPW on Friday.
Looking forward to seeing Pride tomorrow.
If you didn't catch LPW 25, please do. One thing that was just excellent is like it was a smaller card, and a lot of these, all these matches had room to breathe. And Zoe Sager and Rich King, in my opinion, that might have been the match of the night.
Yeah.
There we are, Sager versus Pride. And of course, you can catch Zoe, you can catch Jack at the end of May for LPW 26, the clothesline, happening, of course, at the Rec Room South Edmonton Common. And there we have it.
Yep. Well,
Yes, sir.
that's been our show.
That's been our show. You had a nice little sign-off idea for the brunch gimmick.
Yeah. So
Let's do that.
Yeah. Do you have something you want to put over? We're going to start at the end of each show putting something over that we really enjoyed this week from pro wrestling. So Zach, I'll
Yeah.
defer to you first.
It's easy to say LPW 25. Again, just an outstanding card. Again, I put over Zoe and Rich King, and like that's not a discredit to any of those other matches because those other matches included a great no disqualification contest between Stephen Crow and Ali Catch, and the most brutal match I've ever seen in LPW. Of course, the chain match between Lumberjack Larry Woods and Michael Richard Blaze. Absolutely incredible match. So brutal. An incredible card, top to bottom. Also, of course, Reed Matthews and El Assassino having a great match against one another and had a lot of time to work with. It was like really great seeing the LPW roster and our exceptional guests do what they do best. Marvelous stuff. LPW 25 Edmonton Calling, now playing on IWTV.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sort of the same way. Like I was very excited to see the announcement of the next Love Wrestling, which you just had the graphic for. When one of the big fights happening there is going to be mentioned earlier, Bussy versus Ride or Die.
We can say that now because we're past the 10-minute mark.
Yeah. Absolutely huge match. Effie making his LPW debut. We're very, very excited to have him against our stalwart champions, TFA. Like the Ride or Die, great team. This is going to be a very, very, very fun match. And I'm very excited that it's happening in Edmonton, where we're lucky to be hosting it at LPW. Yeah.
Very excited. It's going to be excellent. Oh, I love this also happening for TFA and Ride or Die. Like when you bring in a team like Effie and Ali, you get eyes on the people that they're sharing the ring with, and I think the world of Team Ride or Die, and so I'm very excited for more people to learn their names.
Yeah. So Zach, where can people find you? What are your socials? What's going on with Love Wrestling this week?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at SmarkMouth, on Instagram smark.mouth. Please follow at LoveWrestlingCA on any social media platform that you can think of. If it exists, we're probably there. It's going to be a low week in regards to myself appearing on Love Wrestling content, but you can see me, date to be determined, later this week on In the Weeds, as I'll be discussing the pub crawl with Joel and Jeremy. But otherwise, other than that, afraid you won't see this pretty face here on Love Wrestling so much this week.
Yeah. As mentioned earlier, you can follow me at KartSayNDG on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm going to start streaming more this week. And yeah, you can catch me here next Saturday. Exactly. You catch me here next Saturday where I will be streaming, as mentioned earlier, Backlash live from France. So it'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern time, start time on that show. It's going to be a fun show. I'm excited to stream an afternoon show. I love doing these afternoon shows. Love these international shows because they're earlier for us. And I am not half asleep watching it. Yeah. So once again, for Zach, I'm Lawrence. We'll see you again, same place, right here next week on the Brunch Gimmick. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Have a good week, everybody.